We've got David T versus Lambo here. This is a MCS win and get in game for the most feared elimination bracket. So these two guys are basically playing to get into the live event for the most feared tournament. Lambo kind of comes into this game. This is kind of interesting because they basically matched up, I believe, in the finals of last year's Unstoppable Challenge. And Lambo and David T matched up in the finals of that live event last year. And here they are again, right? Two really, really good players. A lot to learn from both these guys. Love me some David T. Excited to see what he's doing offensively, defensively. I feel like scheme wise, he's always up there. Lambo always plays a little bit unorthodox, and we'll have to kind of see what he's doing offensively, defensively as well. As you see here, David T is going to be in this 3-3 Cub. If we just kind of back up the tape here, you see he's doing some substitutions. We'll just kind of give you some stuff here. So if you take a look at this, first and foremost, you'll see, these are all just kind of like fun things to, I think, learn from these guys, just kind of see how they're playing. But you'll see first, immediately, he puts his safeties on close and pinch. The second thing is you see right there, he puts this on the OLB flip package, and you're going to see that he's going to start setting up his defense. Now, again, I'll leave links to both of these guys' sites in the description below. I know that they've got different ebooks out, so I'm sure they explain their schemes in depth as well. But he is going to start out with his hooks on 5. Also, leave links to their Twitches if you guys want to watch them play live. So first and foremost, I'll just kind of break down like the general like schemes that you're seeing here. So first and foremost, David T is in this 3-3 Cub. This defense was really a defense that it actually was ran in the first live event of the year by Drini, but I don't think that he was really running it exactly like this. But effectively, what you're going to see is in this game with the patch and things like that, there is a way to get consistent pressure off of one of these edges, only sending 4 or 5. And it's essentially basically where his user's standing. His user's going to stand between this guard and the center, so kind of right in this little spot here. And what he can do is essentially trigger this tackle to block here, trigger this guard to take his user, and trigger the center on the nose. So it kind of looks like that. So what effectively happens is, you're going to be able to get a Sen 4 to come in, or potentially a Sen 5 if you want to. Okay. Now, the other thing about this Sen 5 is you'll see he'll do this throughout the game. He will actually drop whoever in a zone, maybe be this linebacker in a yellow or something like that. And then he'll actually blitz his user and he'll D-pad switch over to this defender right here as another way to kind of, basically manipulate the offensive line, because if they untarget his user or they slide to the left. So if Lambo, there's a little feature in the game where you can say, I don't want you to block him. So I only want you to block these 5 players. If that occurs, then David T can blitz his user, and obviously he would come in completely free. So this is kind of another scenario where on a Sen 5, you can get immediate A-gap pressure, okay? From an offensive perspective, Lambo's really one of the only people that I've seen, at least at the top level, kind of basing out of this doubles flex WAF close. Doubles flex WAF close. Lambo ran normal WAF close last year out of Eagles. This doubles flex WAF close very similar. This was a Niners last year. It made this offense made the finals of Madden Bowl. It was basically normal WAF close for fancy versus doubles flex WAF close for John Beast. And so, anyways, all that to say, this formation poses a couple of things that you have to worry about. First and foremost, this tight end. This tight end can do a lot of really good stuff in this formation. Here's a really deep corner route that he can go on that you'll see, do something like that from a combo perspective. There's also a play PA snag that Lambo runs a lot that has good pass protection. Play action blocking is just probably the best blocking in the game. It does a really good job against D-line abilities and things like that. But you'll see, it also has a short post on this outside receiver. And then really only other main thing that this formation in terms of like a threat that I think it significantly poses is there's like a little short corner here that is really good from this, play. And then there's also a short corner over here that you kind of got to worry about a combination like that, for example. So, anyways, from a defensive perspective, those are some of the main things that David T has to worry about. Now, another real quick thing here is normally this formation is ran with the tight end to the wide side of the field, but in this game, flipping is so effective. So what Lambo's going to do is he come out short side, and then he'll flip his play, and then he'll get better hot routes that way. However, what Lambo has is he has a left-handed quarterback, and this left-handed quarterback, when he hands this ball off, he gets a faster handoff animation if the running back is on his left-hand side. If he was a right-handed quarterback, the faster animation would be if the running back was over here. So in this situation, Lambo's just going to start out with a basic run. He's going to get a faster handoff animation over this way, and he also gives kind of a constraint on the flip. So anyway, here we'll see that first play of this game, he ends up go ahead and running the ball and just going to get a couple of yards, and that's going to bring up a 2nd and 7. One of the things you'll see in these limb games when these guys are really, really, just kind of like, and here we see immediately just some quick throws, you'll see more conservative offensive play. So you'll see high percentage plays, right, designed to have answers for every coverage. And then you see here on the third play of the game, Lambo just pops a run. And this is part of the reason why you see some of this, because in a game like this, when you can get a touchdown, with all the stakes in the world, right, there's thousands of dollars on the line. When you can get a touchdown, just running the ball, it really is, like a pressure release. I mean, it kind of like eases you back into the game. So, there he just kind of pops a run on David, and that's that. Now, David T offensively is going to be in the Jaguars playbook. I believe that Lambo, I want to say he's in Jets. He might be in Jags now, but I want to say he's in Jets. So, anyways, David T, first offensive possession here. As you see, one thing I always look at, especially with this new feature, is this right here to show you something really interesting. So if you see what David T does, he goes right there, and he puts that on base protection. So he sets his automatic pass protection to base. Generally speaking, you're either going to see them put it on base or empty. Those are really the two meta pass protections, standard pass protections. And generally, base protection is a little bit better against certain blitzes, empty protection a little better against certain blitzes. So obviously David T knows, or has at least an inkling of what Lambo is going to be doing defensively. And so he's kind of setting up his game plan to be able to counter that. As far as what offense David T is in, like I said, I believe he's in Jags, and he is going to be rocking this Y-off trio close formation. Here you see audibles, 0-1 trap, pin pull toss, flood, motion PA cross switch being kind of the main play from the formation. So see, he is going to flip, as you see right there, he's going to flip into the wide side, and he's going to set up this combination right here. So effectively, also real quick, Lambo is a nickel wide, which I'll talk about that in just a minute. But this combination here, you have this little flat route that's going to pull, any flat defender out. This tight end zig gets in a really soft spot right in this little pocket, right? And so if the yellow zones are going to drift back, then you can hit this little zig. And then he has kind of a backside high-low with a clear out streak. He's got that crosser that's kind of the high read. He's got the running back as the low read. So he's really attacking, the entirety of the field here. But primarily, he's going to attack this flat, attack this underneath yellow. And then with this running back, you're going to attack this underneath yellow, this underneath flat, and then this crosser obviously going to attack. If they shade the yellows down or the user snaps to the tight end, there's a snap throw right there. And then this kind of crosser can be thrown all the way in those little pockets. As far as defensively for Lambo, he's basically running nickel wide, which Henry brought out in the live event. And this defense got a lot worse, to be honest. So I'm curious to see how he ends up running this. And just a basic send for. And David T going to end up throwing away. Had a couple things if we look back at the tape. So to me, when you run this play, this to me would be read 1, read 2, because they get open so fast. And then once you get that, then you're going to come back here and work this high-low. So if I'm looking at the flat, you see immediately flat. It honestly looks like he's about to get screamed at, but you see here, tight end kind of got muddied up. And so now the eyes have to kind of snap back here As you see, he might have, I don't know, he just didn't see this or whatever. This guy is, kind of scary, and this is what I'm talking about, a game with these stakes. If this is a head-to-head game, he probably throws this no problem, but game with these stakes, maybe he, thinks that this could be switched on to or whatever. But I mean, you clearly see, that's open, right? So, anyway, just kind of messed up, and at the end of the day, throws it away, lives to play another down. Another thing that these guys do, the biggest thing in these kind of games, at least from what I've seen, is this idea of like we want to try to limit our mistakes, right? Don't beat yourself. So you know what? You don't get a clear picture, don't get a clear look at what you want to do. Just go ahead and throw the ball away, and now you're in 2nd and 10. Goes to Y flat goal line here. This is a kind of a cool play. I did want to highlight this one. So you see here's his bunch of nasty audibles. He's got just a basic inside zone, cross post, flat goal line, spacing switch. Pretty standard. This Y flat goal line play is a play that you don't see a ton, but I think you're going to. It's a play gaining traction post patch. It's a unique route here to the right side. It's kind of like a speed corner. It's essentially like a stem down corner before the patch. And so this is a better version of a short corner. And so essentially here you get a pretty standard combination, right? You're going to get this clear out streak, post, right, to kind of hold this user in the middle of the field. If the user vacates the middle of the field, you basically have a high-low between your post and your in route. If the user stays in the middle of the field, normally this corner route will kind of basically get open against almost anything. So anyway, here you see his eyes are going over here. He actually has this. But again, Lambo switches to the route, probably anticipating that could be a possibility. His eyes work backside. You see Lambo takes the post, and he does a good job of just getting to the check down here and just taking that basic in route over the middle. But he's unable to catch it, and now he's going to be in a 3rd down and 10. In this game, right, 3rd down and 10 doesn't necessarily kill you. 4th and 20 does. So you want to try to avoid negative plays. And what I love about watching these games is you start to really notice they're going to call really high percentage plays that have, again, answers against everything. So, for example, here, this is a great play call. Lambo running a little bit more man coverage. So you're going to see him go to more of a man coverage beater. And he honestly kind of gets caged here crazy. Sometimes man coverage just goes a little crazy here. I would assume that Lambo is route committing his man coverage to the inside, but this should have multiple answers against man-to-man. This drag should win. You see here, it kind of wins, but you see how this guy's kind of undercutting it? That could potentially be an interception. And then here, he is technically open, but what you'd love to see is like a playmaker, but anywho, not able to. Lambo switches onto the crosser. The crosser is kind of the money route against man. And yeah, David T didn't really have anything, so he kind of throws into traffic. So what happens a lot in this game is you can aggressive catch that, and that can actually be a catch. He doesn't able to catch it. And now, Lambo's got him on a 4th down on the first drive of the game, even though David T has been calling high percentage plays. Really, the major mistake was just kind of missing the touchdown on 1st down. We're going to see what he ends up going to. 4th down and 10, I got to have it down, right? And we'll see what he goes to at a Y flat goal line. And he's going to go to that playmaker zig, and he's going to hit that. So this is kind of how powerful QB playmaker is. But essentially, what he's able to do is you see here, he's got that corner route. Lambo is putting so many resources over there. Lambo's basically just essentially playing a shed defense pretty much. But anyway, you see how he's going to playmaker this guy, hold left trigger, flick the right joystick up, playmaker this guy up into this little spot right here. And Lambo reads it. He switches right on it, but it's a tight play. But David T able to make it and able to move the ball and get a big 1st down on a drive where really, kind of Lambo's defense was playing out of this world. All right, so it's going to bring up a 1st down and 10 from the 39 here. And we're going to get this flip, little slot fade high-low with the post, and just an easy scramble out of there for Drake May. We'll just take a look here, see what Lambo did defensively. And you see here, he's basically trying to just shed. It's just a 7-4 every time. But you see how this guy kind of gets caught up. It's a good job by David T. Just get out of there and go take your easy yards. Very free, right? Just a free 1st down, the freest of 1st downs. just simply because, Lambo didn't keep it contained. So that's going to bring up a first down and 10 on the 48-yard line. We'll see what David T ends up deciding to do here. He's going to go to inside zone and, just kind of like check it down to an inside zone, see what he gets from the run game. It's just so interesting how, in these MCS games, you'll see a lot more running. You'll see a lot more throwing the ball away. It's just, again, trying to limit those mistakes. It's a great read right there to the post route over the middle of the field. And again, this is a combo you should be using out of motion cross post. Let me just show you what he's doing. So it's a streak, it's a stem down corner, it's a post, a drag, and then that running back slide route. That running back slide route is so darn good this year. And, essentially you have, a high read, a low read here, and then you actually have a clear out, and then your backside is your high read here, and then you have kind of that low read in that middle of the field there. So, anywho, as you see here to the left side, Lambo putting a lot of resources right over here to the left side, but you also see the man coverage aspect of this. So he's got that man coverage. This running back slide pulls the user. As you see, Lambo's user is putting a lot of energy into this running back route. So David T gets here again, touchdown, but takes that nice conservative throw, and he's able to just hit that nice right catch. And again, those streaks, right? Those are hard reads to make, honestly. When they're just hard reads to make, especially in an MCS game, because it happens so fast, right? So, anyway, spacing switch here for David T. Kind of a smash return setup out of spacing switch. Crazy switches from Lambo. David T does a good job getting that in route over the top of the yellow zones, and he is going to be able to get on the board himself. So if we come back here, just take a look here. So what's nice about spacing switch, and the reason that it's really good, and a lot of people like to use it, is because of this route right here. This running back route is amazing. It's really good against man. It's honestly really good against zone too, but it's really good against man. And so Lambo's running a lot of man. But the other thing here is, as you see, David T recreates smash return. So he's got that nice slant. He's got that streak as a clear out. He's just giving him, this play right here literally is a top 5 play in this game, in my opinion. Like the amount of times you see people go to this play in consistent situations is so darn good. And so anyway, what you see here is, you see how these yellows are low. They're on 5. I'm pretty sure. And so Lambo has these low yellows. And so this, even though he's kind of carried that in route initially, he bites down here because he switches off. The yellows are so low. David T just does a really good job of kind of pass leading that in route into the open space. And, he's going to be able to get on the board. So, really, potential for him to get stopped on the first drive, but, able to kind of answer back, able to get out there. And now we're going to hopefully see Lambo's first drive offensively. I think one of the things you want to do in these games defensively is, as hard as it is to get a stop in this game, and that's crazy. You got a kick return too. Got a kick return all the way into field goal range. What's crazy is that, Lambo, this is second possession, hasn't even really had to play offense. And he's in, basically scoring position. So it's a big deal. You want to try to at least make them have to drive the ball down the field. And you see, right there, like, kind of a tough read. I'll show you something kind of cool that Lambo actually does though on this play. You see, no, that might have just been a running back in route. Never mind. You can actually put that running back on a drag route with those auto motion plays in the doubles flex formation, the motion angle Y wheel play. That actually you can, if you flip, when you flip, you can put the running back on receiver routes. So as you see here, there's that pressure threat, and there's that user rush right there that we were talking about. Lambo able to get the ball out quick here, but take a look at what David T does. So I don't know for sure, but it just seems like, right, Lambo says, I don't want you to block him. And this is what 3-3 Cub, this is why 3-3 Cub's cool, because what you're going to see here, set and pass, probably on targeting, right? All David has to do is he just lets the game blitz this guy. He actually blitzes user, lets the game blitz him, and then look, he D-pad switches. So he hit left on the D-pad to switch here, and now he's able to get immediate pressure, even though Lambo's doing specific things to try to stop the main pressure. So you see there, now David T sees the flat, tries to switch to it, doesn't switch to it in time, and Lambo able to kind of, able to kind of get 6 yards out of that. But that is a huge defensive tactic that you just saw him do. Um, I mean, this is a really really important defensive tactic. You see there he does it again, and Lambo goes to the bubble screen. This time I'm pretty sure he's in Jets. Jets has this bubble screen out of the RPO, and so you're going to see here he's doing basically the same thing, right? He's blitzing his user, and then he's planning to D-pad switch to probably this guy right here. Okay, so what you'll see at the snap of the ball, he goes. You see how instantly he switched there? He instantly switched. He's right there, but he does end up getting blocked by the tackle, and so Lambo able to take that bubble. It's crazy how like close these are, like how close these plays are. How David T's like right there, right? But he gets blocked by the tackle, or the pressure's right there, but Lambo gets the ball out on time, or you know what I mean? It's crazy how tight these games really are when you really watch the tape back. But anyways, Lambo going to go to the inside zone there to Amari Cooper and get him in a positive down and distance, 2nd and 3. And David T's been showing a lot of zone looks. What's nice about the shell feature, which I need to talk about that in a second, is he's going to actually go to a little bit of a man coverage look, kind of change the picture a little bit. And Lambo throws what is this route? Is this a tight end wheel? Yeah, I'm almost positive that's a tight end wheel. So anyway, Lambo goes to the tight end wheel. It's crazy that this beats man. He's got a hard flat end and manned up, and he throws right at it, and it just beats it. You see here, David T doesn't switch instantly here. David T instantly switches here, and he's going to go guard that running back. This is wild. This is wild that look at this. Look at this. Huh. And not and it's a first down. Oh my goodness. That is wild. Man, that's tough. I believe David T's got a cover 2 shell on too. So you see how when he wants to go back to zone in a no huddle, he's audibly into cover 2 because that's what his shell feature was on. There, kind of gets out of there, and Travis Hunter able to score. I wanted to quickly peek back here and just highlight something. So as you see, David T is in a cover 2 shell feature. So just wanted to highlight that as well. Okay. So Lambo gets 7 there. Honestly, kind of crazy that, I mean, they were technically open, but I mean, it's wild that a hard flat doesn't hard flat. So, anywho. All right, so it's next position for David T here, and we'll see kind of what he's up to on this one. Goes to motion cross pose. Take a look a little bit closer at Lambo. Lambo's pretty much cover 3 cloud, switch stick. Nice read there to the running back. And that's the power of the playmaker, man. Said he goes. I think he goes. This was Y flat goal line. Now that I look at it, I think. And then he has this little like Texas route, and he can playmaker that Texas route up. So you see here, there's that playmaker. What's interesting, it's just, and that's honestly the give and take of switch stick. Like Lambo is switching all over the field. He actually switches himself out of position, and then this throw is way more open because of that, because he switched off of the player that could have guarded it, right? And that's kind of the give and take of switch stick. If you watch, I mean, there are different styles of switch stick for sure. Like there's like a more patient style where you're only going to switch stick like once or twice a play, but it's going to be really intentional. And then there's the like I'm going to switch stick to everybody, and I'm trying to make a decision. Like as I'm switching to players, I'm trying to make a decision of where do I ultimately want to be, or I'm trying to like switch on a player and run them into position and then switch off to another player, and I'm trying to do that over and over again. So again, just different strategies, different ways that people utilize it. Obviously, pros and cons to all of those, right? One of the big pros to how Lambo switches is it's kind of almost like hard to, it's kind of confusing to a degree. Like, he's he's able to kind of confuse you a little bit because you see here like he switches and then he runs and you see how he switches and runs and switches and runs and switches and runs. Like he makes you think something's covered, but it's actually open, right? It's a little bit more aggressive to me. So anyway, 4th and 2, another fourth down here for T. Got the zig there, good read, and just able to get that first down. I'm telling you, man, when you watch these games, I'll tell you one of my big takeaways from this so far, and he's gonna go to doubles first time. Surprised David T's gonna go to doubles here. A lot of people have walked away from doubles, but I love doubles. I still think it's one of the better ones. There's that post. It's gonna hit PA snag. Not gonna catch it, but this is PA snag. He's got a little drag, a little slant, a little streak, and a little post. Normally that post will win. Why keep the running back in the block when Lambo's only seen 4? I'm not sure. And then basically Travis Hunter just drops it. And honestly, drops in this game are basically, to me, kind of fluky. Like the way the KOs work in this game, they're so inconsistent. It's so hard to actually figure it out. But anywho, all right. So 5 minutes left. Second quarter here, 35-yard line for David T. And he's not in a terrible spot here. I believe he does get ball at half. He's going to go spacing switch, going to go with a smash return setup out of there. And there's a switch stick. It's a good switch stick by Lambo. David T. So this is really interesting. So if you watch this back, so what you see is Lambo's going to switch right there. And it's actually really good. Like he's there. He's in position. Like this looks like a covered player. What David T does is he actually clicks onto the receiver and brings him back. So he gets in front of the defender and he's going to ag catch it. That will prevent, the interception for sure, and it ends up being a catch for David T. So that's how sometimes, even if you get switch sticked, if you aggressive catch, if you get on the receiver and pull him back, a lot of times you can at least avoid the interception when you make a mistake, when that happens. So anyway, good switch sticks from Lambo there, good scramble from David T, and he's going to get up to there. So I think this is the first time that we're going to see an actual goal line or red zone situation in this game. And so we'll see what David T is doing down here in the red zone. Always interesting. One of the major reasons to run Jags is because it has a really good trips tight end for the red zone. This quarterback zone run, really hard to stop down here. He's also got an inside zone RP bubble. So you see against this look, Lambo spread. The user's over here. Now Lambo's probably going to try to shoot inside zone. But David T's going to make him stop it. And that also looked pretty clean. Like, got free 2 yards. I'd go right back to the inside zone if Lambo gives you that same look. See what he ends up doing here. To me, and David T going to go QB zone down here. And again, one of the biggest things, in the red zone is, if at all possible, run the ball. And that time it went crazy. So I don't know I think Lambo must have blitzed his linebackers that time. Maybe didn't blitz him in the first time. But he backs David T up. And now David T's kind of in a spot here. You can't really run the ball from the 5. So he's going to try to wide post. We're going to see his best red zone dot. And this is his best red zone dot. So as you can see, I would think this is, I would call, one of your better red zone plays. So what you have here is you have a streak to triangle. That's probably read number 1, I would think. And then he's going to have this running back route. I haven't seen this combo with the streak to triangle yet. Normally this guy's on a flat, but David T's got him on a streak. Why, you might ask? Probably because of this look here. The yellow zone, like if you think about it, you're going to get a flat, you're going to get a deep half or a whatever. There's probably a little spot to hit right there. So we'll just see how this goes. So we're going to see here. He's got this streak, or I guess it was a stemmed up curl. He ends up taking the in route. Let's take a look at how this actually plays out. So you're going to get a send 3. The user being over here really messes up because this is wide open. The stemmed up curl, it's right there. That's very much so open. But you see how it's just kind of muddy. And so David T kind of floats. He just takes that in route. Tight end's going to be a touchdown in the back. But this is kind of a tight throw. You kind of have to high point that, and that's, high points can be inaccurate a lot. ends up just taking his in route, and that's going to put him in a 4th and goal. Probably going to go for this one. So now you definitely, I mean, this is a gotta have it down. Another massive, massive play in this game early on, a lot. But going to go to bunch nasty spacing switch. See what he's doing out of that in the red zone here. And he's going to just throw a beam. That's a crazy beam. I don't even know what he called. I would think this is a stem down corner. But this is probably spacing switch, stem down corner, maybe a curl. I don't know. We'll just see. Yeah, I mean, he just basically. So what his read is, if he this is how why he throws it so fast. His read over here is if this is a hard flat, I'm gonna throw this right here. And so he sees this guy drop, and it's just automatic boom. That's how fast he made that decision. And what it appears to be is what I was saying. It's like either a curl or a stemmed up in route on this outside. And it's just a great read. It's just a great play by David T. It's a big boy dot right there, in my opinion. All right, so that's going to be 14-14. Now we go into an end of half scenario. So the end of half scenario is you have 3 minutes on the clock. You kind of want to make sure that David T doesn't get the ball back with an opportunity to score. But there are some factors at play that you have to think about, right? You have to think about all kinds of things here. If Lambo does this properly, David T, this is a pretty straightforward end of half scenario clocking. So you should see Lambo run the ball a little bit to get the clock moving and get this thing under the 2-minute warning quicker than not. We'll see what he ends up deciding to do. He's going to pass the ball first play. So that's going to bring up a first down and 10 ball on the 47-yard line. David T going to kind of a cover 4 shell here, and we'll see kind of what Lambo decides to do. Again, flipping into, now this time going to short side, really interesting. Could potentially be for a run. Yeah, for a run. So the purpose of that, kind of a giveaway, right? If you have a left-handed quarterback, again, I was talking about that handoff animation, you're just going to get a better handoff animation. And, he flips into short side and basically just to run. So anyway, here he goes that wheel play again, or that quick flat, I guess, on PA. Maybe that's just a basic flat on PA snag. Maybe it's not even a wheel, but it's getting good separation for him. It's a little slant over the middle, and it's going to bring up the 2-minute warning here. Surprised Lambo has not paid more attention to the clock because David T is not in a bad spot here. He has 3 timeouts, and he is going to be setting up 6-1. Now, why set up 6-1 in the situation? Probably to play a little bit more aggressive. He's probably going to be sending a little bit more pressure, trying to strategically make sure that he does not get clocked out of this. He's going to send 7 here. As you see, he's setting up his user to blitz, and he's going to send 7. And Lambo just takes a quick flat. So again, just kind of a situational thing. But David T's blitzing his user. That way, if Lambo untargets him, his user will come in free. He's going to D-pad switch here and basically try to just lurk over this stuff. But essentially, he literally sends 7 on this play. And he's got this guy coming in free. And, if Lambo doesn't hit this is the right read because it's the only read, really. And he's able to get 9 yards out of it. But in general, right, you kind of see the strategy here shift a little bit. And now David T going to go back to the Cub. It's kind of interesting just how it plays out because David T, what he's trying to do is he's trying to make sure he gets the ball back. Now Lambo, you see a little bit more intentional clock here. He's going to come out of wing slot. He's going to try to run this ball. You see the chew clock being put on here. And like I said, it's just really interesting how Lambo played this out. But he's going to go to the QB power. He's going to get stuffed because it's an obvious run call. Now he's in a 3rd and 1. Now David T calls his first timeout. If David T can get off the field here, this is super big. So we'll see what he's able to do. But he's going to be trying to sell out for the run more than likely here. You see he's crashing his line inside. He's blitzing his user. He's playing cover 0. He's trying to take the runaway. Ended up probably just moving his guy completely out of position. And Lambo able to get a couple yards out of that QB run out of the wing slot. Going to bring up a first down. And Lambo going to stay in this wing slot now. So you see David T going back to that 6-1 and, trying to not only stop the run, but again, just trying to play aggressive, trying to get Lambo. He's probably shading underneath, shading his man coverage underneath. Like he's trying to get Lambo to throw a touchdown, even if Lambo scores, he's just trying to get the ball back. But Lambo gets out of there with Fields. That's why Lambo intentionally goes down on that 2nd and 3. Now, the negative for Lambo, in my opinion, is because he waited so long to clock. Now he has to score in the red zone. Much more difficult to score in the red zone because of the limited amount of space, and so we'll see what he ends up doing as a result of that. Because sometimes you can realistically clock yourself out. Here, David T just trying to stop the run. Like I said, he does not care if Lambo scores. He actually hopes Lambo scores, in my opinion. Like he's just trying to get the ball back. Lambo goes to a timeout there and probably didn't like the look or whatever. And David T gonna come out in that cub again. David T has his auto flip off. Not sure exactly why. Maybe because he's anticipating a flip. But no, it looks like he wants that nickel corner on the quarterback side. I guess that's why. Trying to get a numbers advantage. Lambo goes to a bubble screen, just checks it down to the running back. I think he might have had the bubble there. And again, David T pretty much standard has those hooks on 5. He's got his flats. Did he put his flats on 0? I think he did. I think he put his, because again, David T here, 3rd and 5, it's a passing situation. He's basically going to shade down, play super aggressive, trying to probably put that flat on 0 for the tight end flat route. That must be why he did that. Now you got a bubble screen threat on the left side. This bubble screen's pretty. You could definitely see Lambo calling that. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. And just goes to a smash return combo. And unfortunately for David T, he tackled him. I don't know. But I mean, this does, honestly, though, now you're in that situation where Lambo kind of clocked himself in an interesting way. Now he has to score inside the 3. Hard to score down here. I will say this has probably been the most amount of consistent red zone schemes we've seen for the last probably at least 4 or 5 years. As far as like having a high degree of consistency in the red zone, really you haven't seen that as much as you've seen it this year. But anyway, and honestly, it's because these quarterback runs are so good. And there you see Lambo goes all the way down to 12. And he basically just going to throw the ball 3 times, try to get the ball in the end zone. He's able to get the ball in the end zone. Lambo does exactly what he needs to do. And he clocked David T basically out of the entire half. And now, David T, 9 seconds, kind of end a half scenario. What do you go to here? We'll see what he ends up deciding to do. Typically, you'll see Lambo's going to maybe do some press man or a blitz. He's going to blitz him. And David T just tries to basically break a spin with Okoye. It's going to boost in the second half. And David T does get ball here, though. So, it's a big advantage when you get ball at halftime because, now Lambo played, things went really well for Lambo in the first half. David T still in the game, still has a good opportunity, right, to be able to go down and tie this ball game. And then David T ultimately will need to stop him, though. Like, pretty much no way David T wins this game if he does not get a stop. Whereas for Lambo, because he clocked him out so well at the end of half, he was able to use halftime effectively as a stop. And so if Lambo doesn't get a stop, he still has a pretty good position to be able to win this ball game here. Good pressure there. That was the first time we saw some crazy pressure I've seen. See what he ends up doing here. See blitz? No, this is the Tom stunt. So he's literally just send 4, and this Tom stunt just goes berserk for him. That's the power of that Tom stunt. One of the things about base protection is considered, at least from what EA has said, base protection is a little less effective against stunts compared to empty protection. That's what they said. Now, David T running a lot of play action. He shouldn't have a huge issue with stunts. Play action pretty much kills stunts for the most part, but not there. It was able to come in. There you see there's that crosser. And I mean, it's really interesting to watch. I mean, we're literally watching the best players in the world play Madden, and they're literally running a Sin 4 shed defense for the most part. Kind of crazy times we're living in on defense. Crazy times. Flood H post, still stemming the corner down, stem the post down. Little corner drag post. Corner there. And see that corner is just such a, David probably saw that corner, but, just a little bit of a defender there. He's not going to throw that at MCS game. So. Doubles flex close, PA snag. And there's that play again, that drag slant, just trying to break man. Does a good job. Hits Ingram over the middle. It's a great route combo. Just so many answers, right? I'm telling you, man, one of the biggest keys, you want to take your offense to the next level and call some plays that have answers against everything. Call some everything beaters and learn how to make progression reads. There you see nice little route there. Motion dig under, hits that nice little underneath route. And just see what he ends up going to here. He's going to go to inside zone down here out of doubles. I don't think of this inside zone as being really effective, but we'll see what he does. And going to go inside zone. Does a decent job there. So by going to Bunch X Nasty, he got a faster handoff animation because it flipped the running back to the right-hand side of the quarterback. Much faster, much better inside zone when you do it that way. Going to bring up a second and go from the 1. And see, David, I would think he's going to try to just run this in, go to trips. Yeah, go to trips. Quarterback zone here. Yeah, I see he likes this trips tight end inside zone. And that's why. Little dolphin dive or big boy dive from Okoye, able to get in there. And that's going to be 21-21. Now, as you kind of go down the final stretch of a Madden game, there's only so many opportunities left. Realistically, right? 2 minutes, 52 seconds, depending on how this drive goes for Lambo, David T realistically knows he's probably got about 2 chances left to stop him. So the pressure to get a stop is obviously mounting here. So we'll see how he handles that. I think he forgot to turn his auto flip off on his Cub, so he's manually doing it. Really just affects the nickel corner. Another really, kind of crazy run for Lambo where he's, kind of stopped in the backfield, but able to kind of get out of there. Still going to go on cover to Joe. Still putting auto flip off. Really interesting. But basically just going to manually flip his Cub here. Little cover 3 on one side, cover 2 on the other side. One of the most popular coverages in Madden. And just want to show you this. This is a very good coverage that you could be using. Hard, like if you're on a send 4, you got your hooks on 5, you got hard flat, third, half, and then a cloud. And mainly the only thing is a check down to the right. They coming back across your body, you can take your user out of the middle of the field. Right, just a good coverage all around. Lambo does a really good job just force feeding those flats. Crazy how much Lambo force feeds that throw. Like that's a really, like, he throws that a lot, and he throws it against hard flats. He throws it against man coverage. Like, he really force feeds that flat. All right, so 1st and 10 from the 46. Going short side doubles here. And see, Lambo is doing a good job, I think, too, of like, he's definitely not always running the ball when he runs short side doubles. There he almost throws a pick, but he does that same thing David T did previously, where David T switches perfectly, gets him in position, but Lambo able to just simply get an ag, cut the ball off before the defender gets there. Little cover 4 shell from Dave. Gonna flip into wide side doubles now, or wide side, left side, and it should be a basic run. Yeah, you see a lot of these guys too. Why are they putting? He's got a Mark Cuban running back. Why put wide receiver running back? When they do that, I'm almost positive. I don't know for sure, but I want to say, I don't know. Basically the general reasoning. He actually has a running back at receiver. I didn't even realize that. Is that Bush? It's because of the better spin moves that you're going to get. Here you see David going to get into 6-1 here, red zone, as we kind of go down into the lower area of the field. He's going to jump to 6-1, play a little different. Kind of play cover 2, cover 4 switch stick with hard flats. Take away the beauty of cover 4 switch stick, man, is you take away those, what I call layup throws. That's the whole point of like, this 5-yard hook shaded down cover 4, going to take away those layup throws, force you to throw the ball in that intermediate area of the field. That's the whole idea. So here, David going to go to a little bubble screen, and this is something Lambo does that you need to know about. Abram does the same thing. When you audible to a bubble screen, so take a look here, you're going to see, you see right there. So you see the audible, and you see how he does this animation. More than likely, right here, he's putting him on a flat. And so what this does is it changes. So like when you man this up, normally the flat will still get open. So you'll see, even though David T hasn't manned up, the flat, right? You see that? It's just different. And Abram was doing it as well. And, it's just obviously very, very good. Notice that when Lambo audibles, Amari Cooper goes to the wide receiver position. That's kind of cool. A little pressure there from Dave. And real quick on 6-1, just take a look at how many people he's actually sent here. You see, he sent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So pretty nice little send 5 out of 6-1 there. Lambo going to complete it, but that's going to bring up a 4th down. First 4th down, I think we've seen Lambo on. So let's see what he's able to do for 6-1. He's actually spreading the line, which is interesting. And gonna send everybody. And yeah, it's just hard to stop somebody when you send everybody this year. There's just so many answers. So many answers. He kind of gets out of position there. There's a slant. It's a great combo though. And I think Jets, I want to say Jets playbook has, I'm almost positive the Jets bunch tight end has spacing. Yes, it does. So the Jets bunch tight end has the play spacing, which has a really, really good flat route. And then you can basically create, it's kind of like spacing switch from bunch X. It's not as good as that one, but it's good. And you can basically just create different things. One thing that's really big here about this red zone situation, 2nd and inches, you see he goes to wing slide, he's going to run the ball. You start to kind of think about clock, so he's able to just score there. But you do start to think about clock because situationally, right, 5 minutes left. We're in the 4th quarter now. Now David T, like I said, that pressure to get a stop is mounting. It's why he went to 6-1. It's why he blitzed everybody, tried to sell out, get Lambo to make a mistake. Now you're in a situation, 28-21, where if you go down and score, then Lambo's really set up to go down and it's just a tough situation to be in, honestly, because it really comes down to that end of half scenario. Lambo managing that clock into half, kind of the way that first half played out. It just, sometimes in these games, it really is almost, especially at the top level where you have, such a small thing separating talent. And they're a nice read of that. So the best thing David can do is score as fast as possible. So that's why you see there, like he should, obviously it's kind of an easy thing, but like he strategically went out of bounds there because he's got to save this clock because he's got to give himself enough clock to be able to get a stop on the other side of this. If he's not careful with how he manages the situation, he has to score, obviously, but he also has to leave himself enough time to be able to stop Lambo or at least hold Lambo to a field goal. Like that is kind of the situation you find himself in. So, anywho, that was a really big deal that he got that angle route. And then here, great switch stick from Lambo. Good play by David T, able to get out of there, get him into a red zone situation. Again, you need to score quickly here to give yourself a chance at a stop. 7-second or 7-yard line, 4 minutes, 13 seconds. You kind of need to score before 3 minutes. There's a timeout. I believe that's probably Lambo. Yeah. Notice Lambo didn't call that timeout immediately. He waited for some clock to run, got into alignment he didn't like, timeout. Right. Kind of a strategic good timeout there, in my opinion. Just because I hate calling second half timeouts, but when you're where Lambo's at here and David here just kind of force feeds something. It's a big interception here. That's what you can't do. I mean, he's there. He's open. It's a switch stick lurk. Yeah. So I think ultimately David probably wanted to throw this a little bit more back here, and I think because he bended it down, kind of brought Lambo's user in. Lambo's user doesn't ultimately pick it off, but this why you can get red zone. I mean, this is kind of the way he runs that post. Like if this is a stemmed up in, maybe that's better, you know. But yeah, he's just too low here, and these yellows just played it. I mean, the window is definitely there. I think David almost throws it because David is reading this, and so he's trying to fit it in this window, and this guy just gets a little too far inside, and he's able to lurk it. It's crazy. It's a crazy play, and just like that, you got stopped. I mean, he was moving and grooving. Things are going great, and he just gets stopped down there, trying to fit the ball into a little bit too tight of a window. And now he has to have a stop. Now it's not necessarily like he's not dead here. Like he's got 3 timeouts. Basically, just has to stop Lambo. That's the bottom line. Was going to need to do it really anyway, and Lambo breaks another run. That's what I was talking about how when you're able to break runs, it just kills the opponent because it makes the game so easy for you, literally so easy. There Lambo able to just break a 90-yard run, put him in field goal position. Now, what you should see from Lambo to me is basically running the ball, kicking his field goal. No reason to put the ball in harm's way. You're way ahead in this game. There's a lot that's going to have to happen for David T to be able to come back here. I mean, obviously, one of the other little aspects of these games is that percentage of the onside kick chance. So there, Lambo decides to pass the ball, but you can tell he's being way more conservative with his passing, taking those quick check downs. Had the crosser open for a touchdown, but doesn't want to put the ball in harm's way. Just gets the ball out quickly here. You see David T throwing hard flats, trying to stop that tight end flat, trying to stop the quick throws. Bunch tight end audible, probably going to be the flat route here on the left. That's why David T puts a flat because the man coverage won't play it. He puts a flat here and goes back to that spacing play. Takes a sack. Now, him taking a sack is actually strategic. He doesn't want to throw the ball away there. He wants that clock to continue to run here. So very strategic by Lambo situationally to know, be aware. If I throw the ball away, I play right into David's hands. Wants to kind of get this down to the 2-minute warning. And it's going to be doubles flex while close. David T jumps into, I think, double mug out of nowhere. Going to go with a Texas 4-man in this situation. The scramble's not going to probably kill him. So he goes Texas 4-man, gets a nice shed. And yeah, it was actually great for Lambo. He was able to hit a drag over the middle. Situationally, Lambo needs to take his field goal here to me. Yeah, he takes it all the way down the 2-minute warning. And he's going to take that field goal. And now we're going to see what David T's able to do. So kind of standard scenario that we thought we were heading into. I think of Lambo. I mean, it pretty much is what it is, but 31-21. David T needs to score and he needs to stop. He has 3 timeouts to do so. The major thing here is if he scores a touchdown, he probably is in a better spot just because he can onside and then hold Lambo to 3 and then have a chance. So it'd be kind of interesting there. Lambo got way too much pressure. Let's take a look at what happens here. I think he actually blitzed first. He has not blitzed a ton out of this. Nope, it's just a shed. There you go. It's literally a block shed defense, which is crazy because that's kind of what Lambo was doing live. as well. Just a simple send four and just trying to basically use the block sheds. He has a blitz threat. He can blitz out of this, but it's just not a very good one. There's a Texas four man. It's crazy that he's doing this out of nickel wide though, because nickel wide, like most people, if you're going to run a block shed defense in this game, generally single mug or double mug, nickel wide is good because it has a really fast five man. So anyway, yeah, just kind of interesting. Little throw the ball in midfield. So Lambo's obviously playing defense strategically to try to force David to throw the ball in midfield. He does. He's gonna have to spike it here. That's gonna bring up a second down and 10. Ball on the 48-yard line. We'll see what David T is able to do here. Motion cross post for T. And he's gonna actually run the auto motion here. Run that high-low read. You see a lot more crossers this year than you see posts. It's kind of interesting just because crossers a little better against man coverage. But honestly, in terms of zone, kind of runs itself into being covered sometimes. So gonna go to double corner here. Really interesting combo. Don't know if that's a kind of a situational combo. It's not necessarily like a what I would call like a power play, power combo that you're gonna have a lot of success with. Probably just more situational. Saw something in the defense. He can go to the corner out here. He's trying to throw the ball to the sideline, obviously, to try to conserve time and gets that slide route. That's what he needed. Able to get that slide route there, able to get up downfield for several yards and get out of bounds, which is key here, right? He's got to conserve this clock. It's very important that he conserves this clock, gives himself enough time, because if he does get a stop, it's likely that he's not going to have any timeouts. So that's a big factor here. But the hard part is you still have to score, you know? And so it's just such a hard spot because you can't really you can use the whole field, but it's not ideal to use the whole field. And you're still playing a top level, Madden player with good switch stick and all that. So, yeah. And it's like, just can't go anywhere right there. I mean, Lambo's going to give him that return route all day. And now it's 3rd and 10. So that's where it's like there's this tension between you need to save time, but at some point you actually have to move the ball. And that's kind of the tension here that David's facing. Trying to score with low clock, hits that drag, so he has to take a middle of the field read. Now that gets him on a 4th down. And also clock runs. So can't spike it, right? You have to cook up a dot. And if you don't get it, you're gonna get, game's over. This little zig route, crosser route, able to hit it. That's a huge read. It's a huge read. I mean, right here, this is honestly Lambo. It's just a good hit. Just a good hit. I feel like Lambo played pretty bad defense right there for that situation. But that worked out about as good as you could have asked for David Tees. You think about it, he's able to get 7, so he's able to onside here, more than likely. And then hopefully hold Lambo to 3 if he doesn't get it. So he's got an onside chance, and then he can also potentially hold him. He's going to go to the high kick, middle, basically perfect power. Lambo going to get it, so it didn't work. But you see how Lambo gets immediately into field goal range. If David T didn't score a touchdown, he couldn't onside. So he did get the luxury of onsiding, not able to get it. Now Lambo still in a really good spot, right? All you need, honestly, here you run the ball 3 times. I feel like every single time you run this ball 3 times and you kick field goal. To me, because you're going to take his timeouts when you do that, and you got a good chance of being able to get it. So you see there, David T's clearly struggling to stop this run out of wing slot, trying to find the defense for it. But this little quarterback power run out of wing slot is really serving Lambo very, very well. And, you got a 2nd and 5 situation. David T trying to kind of, what do I call here? Going to go to double mug and try to stop the run with these spread out linebackers. Keep that nickel corner on that side, but, really has not been able to stop this run. And Lambo finds a little crease there for 2 yards. And this is the gotta have it down, right? 3rd and 3, game on the line. You get a stop, you get an opportunity to be able to go down and try to make a play, make something happen at the end of the game. It's gonna be hard, but you can get an opportunity. And he is not able to get the stop. Justin Fields just gets it done. David T is gonna get out of there. A lot to learn from this game, honestly. A lot of good stuff from both these guys here. A lot of the new tactics that you're seeing top tier players use were used in this game. So, thought this was a fun one to break down. And again, if you want to take your Madden game next level, if you have not already checked out our school community yet, it's only $10. That link is going to be down in the description below. Guarantee it to help you get better at the game, and it gives you basically every single thing that I know. All of our offensive, defensive ebooks, everything is all in our school community. You can sign up at the link in the description below.